Mike and Joel here, and we're here this week to talk about financially supporting a missionary. And let's just get the awkwardness out of the way. Anytime, and it's kind of an American issue, I think, but
Yeah.
anytime you bring up finances, kind of everybody gets awkwardly uncomfortable. They start to squirm. A pastor that wants to empty out his church just announced that you're starting a series on tithing,
No, best way to get rid of people.
and that just right
Yeah.
down the drain. But our calling in the Great Commission is not just a superficial one.
Hmm.
Like it's a practical one. It's one that requires investment, not just for the missionary that goes, but for everybody involved. We're passionate about the gospel of Jesus Christ going out to the ends of the earth, right? Going wherever we can take it,
Hmm.
right? It's we should be praying. I mean, that's something we should be doing, but we should also have, if you will, some skin in the game, right? We should be giving sacrificially to seeing the Great Commission fulfilled.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that John Piper quote before where he says, "Go, send, or disobey." And so if you're not doing going or sending, you're disobeying. And I think of our goers. I think of our missionaries who go out there and they put everything into it. They're uprooting their lives here in the States. They're going to a foreign nation that's totally alien, totally foreign to them, and they're doing the hard work of the gospel. And for senders, it should be no less than that. It should be this whole experience where we put everything we've got into sending missionaries out. And part of that just simply involves opening up our finances to that. You just look at the teaching of Jesus. Following Jesus is a holistic experience where everything's involved, even personal areas like our finances.
Yeah, amen. And a lot of times people hear that, and they get intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like they have to go to the extreme.
Yeah.
And one of the just rules, if you will, that I put out, a guideline, is we're not saying go bankrupt. Don't put missionary support on a credit card. That don't go into debt
Mm-hmm.
supporting a missionary. That's not godly.
Great.
That's not beneficial in any way.
Great.
But to support a missionary within your means,
Yeah.
and your means might be $150 a month,
Mm-hmm.
or your means might be $15 a month,
Yeah.
right? Whatever your means are, that you're also engaged.
Mm-hmm.
You're not taking a back seat in the area of your finances. So a lot of times we feel like if I can't do the $150 a month, right, I'm not actually benefiting the missionary in any way. They need $3,000 a month. What good is my $20? Right? But really, the bread and butter, right? The normal donation for missionaries is that $25 to $50 range,
Yep.
because it's sustainable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think of if you're putting in this large amount of money that you can't sustain over a long period of time. When those funds are coming into the missionary, they're depending on that for their livelihood and their ability to keep doing what they're doing. And all of a sudden, if things get tight for you and you do have to draw back some funds, as happens from time to time, that's going to be a much bigger hit for the missionary than if you were giving a smaller, sustainable donation over a long amount of time. So this idea that, well, I have to give really, really big, way above my means to even make a difference in a missionary's life, it's just a lie from the enemy to either discourage you from giving it all, or to get you to donate more than what you have means for.
Yeah, I've talked to tons of missionaries, and they're all like, "Man, I just wish I could have like four donors at $500 a month."
Yeah.
And of course, yeah, that makes support raising a lot easier. But that's a putting all your eggs in one basket
Yeah, exactly.
idea, right? You lose one of those donors, you've lost 25% of your support.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not wise for a missionary. It's
Right.
not helpful, it's not beneficial. In fact, I've gotten missionaries mad at me as we're going over their budgets, and I'm saying, okay, yeah, this large donation, we're not even going to include it
Mm-hmm.
in your income.
Yeah.
We're going to count it a blessing, but
Mm-hmm.
we're going to set it off over the side, and and as we're tallying up to see how much support you have coming in a month to determine if you can go, right? I'm not even going to include that $500 gift, because I don't know if that gift is sustainable for the individual,
Exactly.
right? And so these smaller gifts within individuals' means, that's so important. It's practical. It's helpful for the donor,
Mm-hmm.
and it's helpful for the missionary to know that, what, this is going to faithfully come in each month,
Right.
right? The next thing, I talk to a lot of donors, and I love their hearts. I don't want to sound negative about this point in any way, but they tell me, I really want to write a check each month, and as I'm writing a check, it's I'm praying for the missionary, and I'm giving, and I love that heart. Yeah. But let me give you this exhortation: if you're not radically faithful each month to write that check every single month on the same day of every single month, you're actually causing the missionary to have to work a little bit harder. Mm-hmm. Right? They're wondering, okay, well, I know so and so donates, but they usually donate at this time, but the check's not in. I wonder if that money's coming. And now the missionary is no longer focused on the ministry we want them to be focused on. They're wondering if they're going to be able to pay rent that month because they've been dependent upon this support that's not come in. And the donor usually it's the holiday season, life was a little bit busy, summer, we went on vacation, right? I'll write the check next week type thing. And remember, our goal here is to establish a system that works best for the missionaries first and foremost, right? That's our end goal.
Yeah, and what works best for the missionary in this case is having something solid and concrete that's coming in, on a regular basis. And for us, on the side of being donors, it's the idea of setting up automatic payments through the internet. And through the sending organization of your missionary. And so they can trust that money coming in. I've actually struggled with this myself because I want my giving to be so intentional. I don't want it to just be on autopilot with any of my worship towards the Lord. Yeah. And so what I've actually done is, because I know it's best for the missionary, I have my donations for the missionaries I support drawn directly out of my account, but I've set up reminders on my phone that tell me when, on the days that the money that is that's actually being withdrawn from my account, on those days I see a reminder on my phone, and that just reminds me to stop for a second and just pray for my missionary, pray for that the Lord would use these funds I'm sending out to them, pray that the Lord would just provide for all the means of my missionary.
Amen. What a great point. And there's really two avenues you can go. You can set up an automatic withdrawal, meaning if you go to sum.com, go to NR Missionaries, you can set up an automatic payment where Saving Grace will withdraw the money from your account. You can also set up an automatic payment from your bank each month to send a check to Saving Grace Missions in behalf of your missionary. So you can do that both ways, but the automatic, it just helps the missionary know that this money's coming in every single month at this time, so they can manage their budget. Most of our missionaries, they're literally living paycheck to paycheck, to the extreme of that definition, and we, again, want to make sure what's best for them, because we're here to serve them, to make them successful, and we want to do whatever we can to see that happen. So, absolutely. Hope you were blessed. Thank you so much for your faithful support, for your prayer for all of our missionaries, and God bless.
See you later.